Yo, 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 yo. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is DJ EFN.
Let's not start that shit again.
I'm Cuban American. I'm from Miami, Florida, Kendall to be exact. I used to be a skater. Now I'm a father of two children. I love to take long walks with the stroller with the 1.5-year-old while listening to Kanye's new album and usually a Kendrick Lamar playlist. That's me.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna follow that up. Yo, what up? I'm Manny Digital, recent beater of
Kay
the
doesn't
COVID.
like this shit.
Yo.
God, I thought we were just doing that for one episode. Yeah.
Because Kay has better intros. He's like, hey, what's up, guys? What are we, hey, so what are we doing today?
I don't make all those noises though.
That's Elmer Fudd. My best Elmer Fudd impersonation of you.
Right.
I love it because it's completely like off the wall. I love it. No, I'm gonna be honest. I love it because it makes Kay uncomfortable. Kay is like, fuck.
Now
bro.
that's what's making me like it too. But to be fair, everything we do makes Kay uncomfortable.
True.
Look at him.
Yeah.
He's got a big microphone in front of his eyeballs.
Come on, man. I'm trying to halfway in the matrix, halfway out.
I think he darkened the room on purpose now. He looks like he's in witness protection. You know what he's gonna say? He's gonna request for future episodes that we do that voice coder thing.
We're too late in the game already. You're not getting none of that special treatment.
Yeah, they already got me. So wait, let's backtrack a little bit because we're a couple 2 weeks out, and I know we were going to talk about your whirlwind Kanye experience,
right,
and a little bit of how that impacted you on the family. Instead of rehashing the Kanye episode that everyone knows, let's talk a little bit about how that has impacted you on the family side, because I'm sure that was a hectic period.
You mean the media reaction to it, or like what exactly did I say something that I should be remembering?
Yeah, well, I know you have some things to bring up with it, but also we were talking off the pod just about those couple of days when it hit and like leading up, you seemed like you didn't have a lot of time to spend with the family, and it was you were being conflicted and you were inundated with stuff. So how did you manage that?
True. Now I know exactly what you're talking about. And yeah, I mean, this is always the problem. It's not just the Kanye episode, but obviously the Kanye episode was everything.
For those that are unaware, Drink Champs Kanye episode parts 1 and 2
out now.
Yep.
On all platforms.
Correct.
And I am a Cuban American from Miami, Florida. Right. Anyway, so I'm always, so actually I wanted to ask you guys something, because you guys have talked on the pod about this, and I find myself saying these guys are fucking lying.
You say that every episode.
Because if I'm correct, and maybe I asked this and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I remember this wrong, you guys say that you don't use your phones around your kids?
No, we do.
We do. We try not to, but it's not 100%.
Okay, but what percentage is it then?
If I'm being honest, 40%.
You use your phone 40% around your kids?
I use my phone 60%. I'm not using it maybe 40% of the time.
Okay. How about you, Kay?
I really thought about it, but I'm going to just go 50-50. I try to be mindful about it because I don't want it to be like that should just seem normal of like, oh, dad is glued to the phone all the time.
Right.
Because that carries over.
Yeah.
But the weird thing about it is that it's because, a lot of the times people, well, like for me, for example, I'm using it more for work purposes or like email, text, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But because it's a phone, it's like, a kid could look at it and it's like, it could be whatever. Oh, he's watching TV, he's playing games. You just really don't know what it is. That's the weird thing about it. It's almost like when you're sitting at the computer, it's like, oh, dad's working. Whereas with the phone, it feels like it could be anything, or you just tune, like, oh, dad's tuning me out because he's on the phone.
I don't even think it's just the kids looking at it that way. Yeah. I think even other adults' perception of someone on a phone is not that they're uber busy or doing something that they can't do later.
Right.
Yeah.
And that, that's another thing that's kind of bothersome, especially if you're an independent entrepreneur, whatever, and you're trying to fit your lifestyle around family, and then that means you're gonna have to be working on your phone. So fast forward or backwards, however you want to look at it, to the Kanye episode, it was such a media whirlwind from the moment that we even alluded to him being on the show.
Donda. Did you get
Thank
the person from the album to do it, or was that some
We
other?
just took it from the album, bro.
Okay, I wasn't sure. You guys are drink champs, bro. You big time.
Oh my god. So, anyways, so I found myself doing what I normally do, just even more, which is I'm on my phone a lot, as much as I try not to be, because I have to be. It's really, I have to be on call 24/7, for the most part. And when that happened, it was just like, man, like I had to. It's not like I couldn't resist it. It wasn't about resisting. Is that I had to, because something important was happening and it was in real time, and I had to be on top of it. And also I had to take advantage of the situation at the same token, and I had to be responsible for the platform and be on top of things. So, we're getting hit up on email, on DM, on I'm looking at all the different outlets posting things and reposting things, and like I said, I'm getting calls and texts and emails from people like People Magazine, Newsweek, Entertainment Tonight, like random ass things, but big, big platforms and shows, and you got to stay on top of it. And besides that, then there's other things going on that are normally going on, but this is like enhancing everything. Like,
yeah,
you got other partners reaching out, because of the episode, wanting to now pick up where you left off on some business conversation, because they're like, oh shit, we got better talk about it now. And I found myself a couple times, and there's one specific time, I forget what day in this 2-week craziness it was, but it was early on. And I'm putting my daughter to sleep, and I'm on the phone, and I just couldn't get off of it, man. And I knew that it was wrong. Like, not wrong that what I was doing, but wrong in the sense
moment
of being with her. Yeah, in that moment. And then, but I knew I had to do it. And then my girl came in, and she was with her, playing with her and getting her ready for bed, but I'm still in there on my phone. So I'm like, part of me is like, do I just walk out and just do this outside of the room? Or do I stay present in the room? And then I turn to my daughter and I say to her, baby, I just want you to know that I'm not ignoring you. Daddy's on the phone working. I have a lot of work today, and I just want you to know that it's work. And she just looked at me and like kind of acknowledged. I don't know if she understood me or not. So yeah, that's what I was grappling with, and I grapple with all the time, but it was obviously enhanced by Kanye, by the Ye
effect.
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, just if I could distill it down to like, the common person, right? Because what you're describing is like upper echelon type of experience in this case, right? But like the regular Joe who's got like traditional 9 to 5, let's say, find themselves in a very similar predicament, I'm sure, all the time, right? Because I guess I'm closer to that person in what I do on a daily basis, and there's always something like, while our schedules might be 9 to 5, from the outside looking in, there's always like, it bleeds into other things, and like you might have a big deal that you're working on, and something important happens after normal work hours, and you got to like address that in order for the thing to have progress. Right. And so I look at that and I'm like, I've been in similar situations in my kid's room, and I find like what you just did, because of the situation, is probably the best thing we can do in that moment, is like acknowledge what's happening and explain as best we can what's going on. Not like trying to excuse what we're doing, but like be accountable to our kids or our family about what we're doing. And then, find a way to kind of come back into the family. In this case, you're putting her down to sleep, so she's not going to be around again until the morning. But I look at that situation and I'm like, yeah, that's probably the way I would have done it too, because of the circumstance, right?
Right. Yeah, you're going to take an L either way, because you're not 100% there, right? Even if you're in the physical. But I think what you did was the smart thing, at least, whether she acknowledges it or understands it or not. I mean, yeah, I've been in similar, not that kind of deal, but I mean, definitely times where it's evening or I'm in the middle of trying to do something with my son, and then work stuff happens and it's got to be addressed. And yeah, I mean, he's called me out on it before.
And another thing too is that it feels like you're playing catch up all the time, at least for myself. And you're just trying to get through things so that you can make more time in the near future, the next day or later in the day. And so when you don't, let's just say I would be like bullish about it and be like, you know what? Fuck that. I'm putting my phone down. I'm gonna be with my family. That's it. I do that, then it's chaos when I pick up that phone, and it's gonna pile up work to a different extent that's gonna put me in a different zone later on, that's gonna last longer, and or could ruin opportunities that could bring in revenue that feeds my family. So it's like a conundrum that I'm in.
Yeah, you're in the work-life balance.
Right. I still haven't figured this shit out, bro.
Yeah, you in that struggle though, trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
How often, let me ask you a question. Like, how often, just thinking about revenue generating opportunity versus social engagement, or engaging with supporters of Drink Champs, right? Two separate worlds.
Right.
How often would you say you think you would miss a revenue generating opportunity if you did put your phone down after a certain time just to be with your family? If you're like just looking at the history of how you've moved in that world, like what's the real percentage?
Looking at the history, I feel like every time I don't address things, or if I miss something or communicate with folks, I'm losing out, because for me personally, something today that I did, whether it be simple conversation with someone, impacted and brought revenue maybe 5 years down the line, 3 years down the line. So I look at every opportunity in terms of building relationships or doing little things that some people might not think is a big deal. Like, it's, to me, it's like I'm really big on the whole consistency of everything I do. I want to be consistent on how I interact on social platforms. I want to be consistent in how I interact with people behind the scenes. I want to be consistent in how I respond to emails, that I'm good on. I'm quick. Like people, for the most part, people say, man, that my partners, like our partners at Drink Champs or whoever, they're like, you're really on top of it, and I like to be consistent at that. And it's tough right now.
It always feels to me like you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself, and it's easy for me to say because I'm not in it, right? But it's almost like I wonder if you should try it. Like,
try what? Putting it down?
Yeah, say like, yo, between the hours of, it doesn't have to be a whole night, but like whatever that bedtime routine period is for your kids, be like, yo, whatever it might be. Maybe it's a 2-hour window. You're like, yo, I'm not touching this shit for 2 hours.
I do it.
Okay.
No, I do it.
You pay for it afterwards.
Oh, I pay for it most of the time, but no, and I do it no problem. And even the pay for it is not that, like, it's worth it. Okay. What I do usually is I leave my phone downstairs charging, and I go upstairs to do the nighttime routine. I don't have my phone with me. But in the situation of like the A episode,
yeah, that's different.
That's like, you're on call. Like, let's make, we gotta, if we're gonna go through this, let's go through this and let's make it work for us. Like, let's go all in. And that's the approach I took with that. And I feel like we just have to, as a family, sacrifice.
Yeah, there's gonna be those times for sure. I think we just can't be so hard on ourselves, like when there are those times, because we know that it's just like reminding yourself, like, okay, this is this moment. I got to go through this and do this, and it's not gonna, it's not gonna ruin my kids, right? They'll probably be upset. It's not gonna be the normal. But if you look back at kind of historically how you're handling things, yeah, you do put the phone away. You are present and available during those times. So I think sometimes we definitely get in our own heads of like, because it's not what we want it to be in that moment, like we get extra hard on ourselves, like we're fucking up,
Right.
I've been doing, I told you guys I've been kind of working on myself on a bunch of different levels, but something that I'm like,
gym life.
Well, gym life is one, but no, more like my mindset, right? And so always, so like most people will put like a to-do list of shit that they want to get done or have a mental one, right? When they start their day and kind of try to knock those things out. And I found myself historically, like at the end of that day, feeling like if I didn't get every single thing knocked out, like I failed for the day. I give myself zero credit for the things that I actually was able to do. Even if it was a list of 10 things and I knocked out 2, I look at the 8 as like, yo, I fucked up. Like I should have done more and not really focus on the wins, those 2 that I actually accomplished. Right. And so I'm sure you guys can probably relate, but like I've flipped the script on myself over the last couple of weeks. And I was like, yo, my intention is to make progress, not perfection. And it's kind of my mantra now. And that small thing has created like this calm about my approach to every day where I feel my anxiety level has dropped tremendously. And I'm finding that I'm actually more my focus tends to find the right things to prioritize versus me having to struggle like, yo, I gotta write every single thing, I gotta write it down, I gotta figure it out. No, like my shit just, I know what my macro level target is, and then things just kind of start to line up accordingly. It's like fucking magic. I can't really get more deep into how it's working. But I mean, I don't know if that's helpful to you guys. I wondered, like in K, in your world, like there's been times when we talked about like the stressors of your everyday. I'm curious how you go about it in your world.
Yeah, it's a combination. I mean, I like to-do lists, but there's a lot of stuff that goes unchecked at the end of it. And I'll just carry that stuff over to, the next week or whatever. Just for me, it's helpful as a reminder of like, oh shit, I got to get this stuff. I mean, some of it is like, I put on some of that extra stress for myself to continue to try to do better. Right. But at the same time, I don't want it to be like anxiety inducing where it's like, I can't do anything because I feel overwhelmed with stuff. Yeah. So I think part of it is similar to what you're witnessing or what you're feeling right now, is that there's these macro things that you're just in the flow and got to get done. And then there's some of these other things that start to fall into place, and maybe there's stuff that just doesn't get done.
And it's okay because it's not that big a deal at the end of the day, but it feels like it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's that balance of just not like letting yourself be okay with, okay, it didn't get done, but at the same time, don't give yourself the excuse to never get it done and just slack. You know what I mean? So it's trying to find that. I mean, I think you have to have a certain level of just independence and just, well, I don't forget the word I'm looking for here, but you know what I'm talking about. You have to have a certain discipline with how you work in order to work that way, I would think.
I'll tell you, lists have in the past have been immensely helpful for me in a lot of ways. But the lists have gone out the window since I've had kids, and I've tried to bring them back, and it just doesn't work because so many things pop up throughout the day having to do with the family.
Yeah,
that those lists just make no sense anymore.
Well, I've got like lists for like work lists, then I've got family personal lists, then I've got like,
man, you got lists on lists on lists.
And then I'll have like fatherhood, you know what I mean? Just like kind of break it out.
Oh, so no, you writing books.
Yeah, you on a different level.
That's some other, I don't know, man. That seems stressful to me to have. It'd be stressful just to organize the different lists every day for the next day.
It sounds bigger than it is, but it's like one page, right? And I just like on one column, here's a work list. Here on another column, here's a family list of things that got to get done. And it's usually kind of broken out through the week. And again, I don't hit all of them, but it helps me mentally kind of separate the things so that I can see like, all right, if I've gotten a bunch of work stuff accomplished and I look over on the personal family stuff and I'm like, oh, okay, I can, maybe I forgot about this stuff because I was so caught up on the work side of things. Well, now let me flip over here and tackle some of these other things if I have a break,
I'm gonna try to bring the list back, and I'm actually gonna try your method. Okay. One thing I want to say that did help me when I did write lists, that if it could help anybody else, and I'm even gonna try it with Kay's method, is 2 things that I would do. I would write things that I knew that I was going to do no matter what, just to feel like I accomplished something in the list. So like for, whatever, let's just say 1, take a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like something dumb.
Right.
It wasn't that, but I'm just saying something as stupid as that. Like, and then
go
I'd be
CrossFit.
like, and boom, I did it.
Right.
Like drink 5 glasses of water by 10 a.m. Boom, I did that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then it started to feel like you building a momentum. And then in terms of the macro stuff that you're talking about, when I had like big projects that I knew I wasn't going to finish in one day, what I would do is I would write, do something today to work towards this. And as long as I did something, I can cross that out. And it still felt like it was. And then that added up as a momentum throughout the week. As I started to notice it every day, I did something towards whatever that bigger thing was. And that helped me a lot.
Yeah, I think it's just like just being able to see an organization, at least for me, is helpful.
And writing it.
Yeah.
The fucking phone list shit doesn't work for me.
No, me neither.
I had a little book, and I would write in that bitch. Because they say writing shit, mentally writing it does something different.
It makes it real.
The magic eagle world. I don't know.
I still have a
ziggity zaggity zoo.
A yearly planner that's got stuff to write. So
I love how he always takes like some real deep shit and then he pisses all over it. You're on a roll right now, and then you're gonna fucking cheapen it.
Hey, ziggity zaggity zoo, shut your ass up.
No, but so a lot of the mental work. So there's a doctor named Joe Dispenza. So Joe Dispenza is a chiropractor by trade. He does a lot of work, mindfulness work.
Sounds like a car salesman.
No.
Come get your car from Joe Dispenza. I'll dispense the car to you.
But he talks a lot about this kind of stuff. It's the mechanics of you writing things down, you envisioning yourself in certain situations that you long to be in, and going through that and writing that down and like conditioning your mind to have experienced these things even though they haven't happened yet. The science behind it is crazy. Like these things, that and then some happen to these people that are really committed to these things and practice it. And by practicing it, really is just like, I mean, meditation comes into it as well, but like writing is a big part of it. And so when you can do that, like I have 2 lists. I have a daily list and I keep it really short. I've got like 3 emotional things I'm working on, 3 physical things I'm working on, 3 work-related things I'm working on. And then I've got a weekly list. And that's
a Dominican list.
No, I don't keep a Dominican list no more. It's too crazy. And that weekly list just is more, again, like it's more like the macro, like here are the big things. And then here are the little steps that might get me to the end of, this bigger list. And I've only been doing it for maybe 3 weeks now, 2 weeks. And I've noticed a difference in how I approach things. So something for you dads to think about if you're not in that mode. Like, I think it will be helpful.
And to add something to all of that stuff, which we've actually talked about before, I actually believe in the vision boards. I really, really do believe in them. I've done them myself. I've even not believed in them after I did them and then looked back at them because I threw them in the closet. Like, this is ziggity zaggity zoo shit, and then looked at it years later and was like, holy shit. Pretty much everything happened in the vision board that I put in the vision. And I mean, to the T, like to the, like, oh shit, this shit is real.
I mean, your album, the process of selecting the artist for your album was very similar.
That was pretty close. Yeah. Pretty close. Yep.
So, I mean, that shit works, bro. And you don't even have to have a ton of faith, which is the crazy thing. Cause I mean, you like you just said, like you were looking at it, you're like, and just the fact that you were already like, you were seeing it probably a few days.
Yeah. And I didn't do it like, oh, I'm going to like, like, I always try to tell people to beware of watching the movie The Secret, and then you just stay in your house in your underwear and go, I'm going to envision it's happening.
But wait, was your vision board, was it like, were you cutting pictures out and doing it that way, or were you just writing like?
No, it was the pictures, and that's what I was alluding to. Like I did it like, I don't know who I did it with, but it was like someone's like, oh, look, it's New Year's. Let's do a vision board. They bought a bunch of magazines. They brought them to my crib. It was like a little thing we just, and I was like, all right, whatever, let's do it, and I did it. And And I still have that one that I made. I think I've done it twice in my life. And yeah, man, it was pretty legit. And the album thing is legit too, like writing it down. But I feel like that is a vision board, but I don't know. I felt like we were really working hard towards that shit. I don't know. I mean, you work hard towards your vision board too, but whatever.
Interesting.
Before we get out of here,
yeah,
I feel like Manny's about to go. Before we get out of here, guys.
Nah, I got one more thing I want to talk about.
Was it gonna be the Kanye episode again?
No, but we could talk about that.
We didn't grab the excerpts from it, which we should, and post them, where he talks about his family and his kids.
I think we could do a whole episode around that.
Sure, you can.
Like a micro. I'm gonna put that on my vision board.
Damn, we probably should grab the excerpts and talk about them. But the one thing that stood out when he was talking about his kids is he talked about being like a nomad and not having a home. And
the bag you gave him is his home.
Like, I didn't give him a bag.
What you got? You gave him some shit. Oh no, he has a new one that you guys gave him something.
He had to get a new one because he said he had to get a bigger home, which is a bag. Because we gave him the roses and I gave him a hoodie and a t-shirt, which he wore, and that shit went wild. Yeah. And I gave him a fatherhoods bracelet as well.
Word.
But anyways, he said something about when his kids FaceTime him, that's home. And I don't know, it maybe it doesn't impact the way he said it on the show, but it was pretty impactful and pretty deep. Because I forgot, I said something where he answered in that way, but him and his wife, they're separated right now, maybe divorced. I don't know what the rumors are on that, or confirm or deny. But
he said he ain't got no paperwork, so
right, that's what he says on the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was like, when his kids FaceTime him, that's when he's home in that moment.
Yeah, that struck me too.
Or that's home.
And it ties into, I think, a lot of our guests, right? They didn't put it that way as succinct as he did, as Kanye did. But I think Static Selector was kind of the first one that I remember, like when he was on with us, he was like, yeah, it's like FaceTime just changes the game because you're touring or whatever. Now you have this, and it feels pretty close to like being with them, which is the craziest thing. But yeah, that's when Ye said it, I was like almost sad. It was cool.
It was sad.
It was sad to me.
Yeah, it was deep. If you felt for him, that it actually felt like he's hurt not being with them. That's the way I took it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a deflection of like, I don't need a home, but I've got, my kids are my home no matter where they are. But I think if push comes to shove, and I can only speculate, but if he had the choice, that he'd be there with his kids.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I have to imagine.
And I mean, we can't even probably imagine that dynamic and that lifestyle and all those two polarizing personalities, and not polarizing, but celebrity,
all the people around, all kinds of
yeah. So yeah, man.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for, I don't know, when people think about, being rich and famous and all that stuff, like really, what's the impact to have on your, like, if you're going to try to own the world, like, what does that effect really have on your family life if you're someone who values the family? Yeah, that's a whole nother kind of family lifestyle than we're used to.
Yeah, think about the depth of that, because you would say to yourself, it's not worth it to have that kind of ambition because of the sacrifice or the toll it takes on your family and what your interaction with your children. But then on the flip side of it, a lot of things in our history would have never happened had someone not probably been an absent father or an absent mother.
Right.
Which is wild, like someone in history changed the trajectory of history, and we're probably championing them in our history books. But in history, the untold story of the child, it was like, fuck my mom, fuck my dad. They were never around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's true.
So, I don't know. Take that nugget and run with it, Manny Digital. AGB.
I just wanted to share a quick thing and love your thoughts on this. But if you were in the same shoes, so my daughter gets off the bus the other day, my 5-year-old daughter, and she's like, the first thing she screams to her mom is, "Mom, I didn't fight today. I didn't have any fights today." Like she was mad proud. And I'm like, so backstory. She has a tendency to, I guess insult is probably the right way to describe it. Verbally insult,
Wonder where she gets that from.
Slightly assault people that bother her brother.
And assault?
Verbally.
Oh, okay.
She threatens to punch people in the face.
All right.
But she hasn't yet. So
who are messing with her brother.
Yeah, that's usually what triggers it. So on the bus, my son and his friends, you know how boys do, like talking shit to each other, but it's playful. Like everybody understands this is not like threatening. And it wasn't from what she described, it wasn't anything like serious or like insulting. But she felt the way about it and she jumped on the kids, not literally, but like she jumped into the conversation and was like, she threatened him somehow. She was like, "Shut up, you don't blah blah," and then she was like, "I'll punch you in the face." And I was like, I looked at my wife. I was like, "Yeah, that sounds like some shit I would say." She got that from me. But my daughter, she's like a fireball, so it's like she gets hot, and she's like on some like I'm gonna thump you out type of, you know, the way her body language is, and we were like, "Yo, you can't do that." And then she's like, "No, but my body got angry." I was like, "Oh fuck, your body's getting angry. That's not a good place to be." So we've been working with her on that, and then 2 days ago she comes off the bus and she's like super hyped that she didn't have any more of these situations. And it's probably been like 3 of them since school started, but that was like a culminating moment for me. I was like, yo, we got to be careful what we say around her and like really coach her to express herself with us so that she understands how to kind of diffuse when her emotions kind of reach a certain level, and also mind your fucking business. Like, unless your brother's really getting hurt, like chill, let them figure it out.
So I think that's a great quality that she has, actually.
Yeah.
So there was I forget the exact quote, but my wife came about, and it's something that we've tried to teach my son a bit. Something to the extent like, in order to be the lamb you are, you have to be able to let out the lion.
Ooh.
Like right. That. So if you're just kind of gentle and calm by nature, that's just you're chill. You're not trying to cause problems or whatever. In order for you to be in that, live that way, you got to be able to let the lion come out when it's necessary. So that's probably, she's got the lion in her. So it's really just coaching her to know when to let it out.
All right, to control it.
Yeah.
And that's martial arts, man. That's what I'm gonna do with my kid. Both of them. Go. Be ninjas.
Be ninjas.
Right.
All right, ninjas.
My ninjas, I'm out of here, kid. Pizza.
All right, later.
Later.